for joining us today, and apologies. Thank you all for joining us today. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Apologies for starting a couple of minutes late. We're still letting folks in to the webinar. Thanks again for joining us. I'd like to start by welcoming my co-host, Rebecca Marmot, the Chief Sustainability Officer at Unilever. Welcome, Rebecca.
Thanks, Ezgi. Afternoon, morning, evening, everybody.
Rebecca and I joined forces through the 100+ Accelerator program as we work to find new innovations and technologies that can advance the green and just transition of the economy, including our own value chains. But first, I want to pause and acknowledge the humanitarian crisis in Ukraine that has displaced more than 2 million people to date. The war has deeply shaken and saddened us all. In recognition of International Women's Day, we honor all the extraordinary women inside our companies, across our value chain, and around the world, especially those in Ukraine whose bravery and resilience has been inspiring. While we continue to support and provide relief for the humanitarian crisis, at the same time, we know the intensifying effects of climate change is outpacing the ability to adapt, as per the latest IPCC report, which came out recently. We must continue our work to address the climate emergency, which is why we're so pleased to see such a strong participation today from around the world. We right now have nearly 150 participants that have joined us, and we're really excited to see how you're looking forward to engaging with us on such important topics. We have a truly international cross-section in the audience representing dozens of countries around the world. It's invigorating to see the diverse and engaged group, especially as we know it will take a concerted global effort to achieve an equitable and sustainable future for all. As we recognize the social, economic, and environmental achievements of women on International Women's Day, and with the approaching World Recycling Day, we thought it would be fitting to highlight the vital role that women play in ensuring a sustainable future, ensuring sustainable consumption and production patterns, and promoting a circular economy. Many women are agents of change around the world as recyclers, policymakers, designers, engineers, marketeers, and more. But few are known to the public. Their work goes on quietly and diligently, improving the livelihoods and the outlook for our planet. Today, as we celebrate International Women's Day and Global Recycling Day, we are humbled to profile some of the incredible women advancing circularity and sustainable development around the world. So let's dig in. We will hear a little bit later on from the 100+ startup founders about bringing new technologies and innovation to market, but I want to start the conversation with the impact and scale that organizations like AB InBev and Unilever can achieve. At ABI, packaging represents nearly 40% of our global greenhouse gas emissions, further underscoring the importance of circularity for climate action. One of my favorite recent examples of innovations is how our global brand Corona has introduced last year a 6-pack carton using renewable recyclable paper made from barley straw, a material that's left over after barley grain is harvested for the brewing process. Think about that. Compared to traditional pulping processes, the new technology uses 90% less water in its production than the traditional virgin wood processes, along with less energy, fewer harsh chemicals, and it can be recycled like any other paper. And as we look to the future, there are many non-wood materials that may be suitable for pulping through upcycling or circular opportunities that create shared value for our businesses, our consumers, and also our farmers across our supply chain. The new 6-pack was just recognized by Fast Company as a top innovation, and we're keen to take the learnings after successful trials so that we can continue to raise the bar and set the standards higher. But let's also hear from you, Rebecca. Unilever shares many of our packaging goals and ambitions around recycled content, reusability, recyclability, collection. In particular, you've got some really strong commitments around plastic, which I think is especially topical with the recent UN Environment Assembly in Nairobi that witnessed a historic watershed moment with the adoption of a resolution to end plastic pollution. So what are some of the examples Unilever is working on to scale in terms of innovation in this space?
Thanks, Ezgi. I loved hearing about the new Corona innovation. Sounds great. Yeah, I mean, I think you're absolutely right. The fact that the UN agreed 2 weeks ago to start negotiations for this global treaty to tackle plastic pollution is such a massive step forward on the journey to circular economy. One of my team was lucky enough to be in the room, and he sent me a photo of everyone cheering at the end. You could see was bunches of different stakeholders all coming together, from business, from NGO, from civil society, government, UN. It's something we've really been pushing for at Unilever. I think we've got to have a mandatory approach that stops single-use plastic and ensures that there's a common direction for us all to follow, which we can then scale. It's really about taking action. I think in terms of packaging more widely, we're working on a whole raft of different initiatives, looking at different sorts of materials, collection programs, etc. But also 100,000 ton absolute reduction of virgin plastic. So actually for that, you need to think about how do you operate your business differently? How can you actually eliminate plastic altogether? So one thing we've really been engaging on is refill models, which have got a huge potential to change the way that people, we all engage with products on a daily basis. So, I mean, something that I've been quite involved with, which I like, is a brand called SIF, Surface Cleaner, that we've been rolling out a new program in 12 markets now. So you buy the bottle once, and then you just buy a little eco refill. So it's probably this large, maybe 7 or 8 centimeters, and you refill that. So it's 75% less plastic. It's 80% fewer trucks on the road. So actually, if you think it's not just the packaging itself, but it's also that circular approach, thinking about the transport and the logistics to actually take smaller packages around and supply them to our consumers and our customers. And then I think also, on that basis as well, thinking about actual refill services in stores. So, for example, here in the UK, we've been doing a trial with Asda, with Tesco, and in the Co-op, where consumers buy a reusable stainless steel bottle, and then they can fill it up in store with personal detergent, with Radox shower gel, and so on and so forth. So you have a great looking container that you've got in the kitchen or in the bathroom, and then you're refilling it, so eliminating the need for plastic. And then I think as well, thinking of how do you then bring in people and social enterprises. So something we've been working on in Chile is with a social enterprise called Agramo, where you get an app on your phone, consumers then order refills of whatever they want, cleaning detergents, laundry brands, and then that's delivered to their door, and that's by electric tricycles. And I think probably the last point to add is, there's lots that you're doing, we're doing, some of the people that we've been lucky enough to be exposed to through the Accelerator are doing through innovation, but I think it's also on all of us to think about how we change our behavior, and we get used to different formats. We know when we listen to what our shoppers want, that they want to make more sustainable choices. So I think these kind of things are, really super exciting as we move towards more circular, sustainable living.
Yeah, amazing examples, Rebecca. Thank you for sharing with the group, and truly inspiring. We're all learning from each other and inspired by our consumers and their demands as well. The refillable packaging example truly reminds me of our own returnable glass bottles and how we're working around the world with our marketing and sales colleagues to continue to protect and promote that volume. So not only introduce more recycled content into our one-way packaging, but to protect that returnable two-way packaging as well. And I agree with you. I think e-commerce definitely offers huge opportunities for us to continue to scale this up and maybe even improve convenience when the consumers are looking to return some of the packaging. So definitely great examples from around the world. As I mentioned earlier, women are integral to the circular economy, and they make up the majority of grassroots recyclers in many of our markets that we've seen in our supply chain. For example, in Zambia, women make up about 80% of grassroots recyclers, but only represent 40% of the aggregators. Key to leadership is to lift as you climb. I think this is a big topic, especially on International Women's Day, which we officially celebrated yesterday, again, recognizing today. But we work around the world to do this, to lift as we climb, including for our women across our value chain, all the way to the last mile. And as part of that commitment at ABI, we're implementing scaled programs for grassroots recycling communities around financial training and access to tools, improving transparency and traceability. In many cases, this is actually a first step so that we can better address the needs of these communities. We can better formalize these markets. And last but not least, especially throughout the pandemic, safety measures, PPE, equipment that we've offered to the recyclers, and many other efforts to truly improve livelihoods, but to also lift women up as we climb as well, so that they can be part of the aggregators, they can be far more part of the formal economy. And I know Unilever has very strong programs working towards shared prosperity and inclusive growth. Could you give us a few examples of these programs and how you're looking to scale your commitment?
Yeah, I'd love to. I mean, we launched what we call our Unilever Compass last year, no, a year and a half ago now, which is really about operating the business in a different way. So it's our operating model that puts sustainability front and center, because we know that if we think about how we run our business right the way across the value chain in a different way, we can really raise living standards all the way from working with the farmers and the smallholders who are sourcing raw materials and crops and commodities for us, right the way through our value chain, and thinking about working with retailers. And a lot of our work is with small retailers, and many of those stores are women-owned around the world. One of the most important things we've realized that we can do when we talk to the women who are running those businesses is helping and enabling them to get access into the formal digital economy, which unfortunately in some situations it hasn't always been the case. And it's absolutely critical. It's such a vital step on the path to equity. So something that we launched a few years ago and actually was following up with the team on it this morning is, for example, a program we're running in Kenya, with MasterCard and KCB Bank in Kenya, called Jazaduka. So what we're doing is helping the shop owners, the entrepreneurs, grow their businesses by enabling them to get access into that formal digital economy. So they get the opportunity to buy goods on credit. We know when we talked to them that they said they could sell out all the stock that they had much earlier on in the week if only they were able to get access to credit to buy more. Now they can, and so that enables them to really grow their own businesses and start to think about how they're expanding. And we've seen on average now monthly average sales uplift of around 20% for those businesses. And then I think a second part is really actively seeking out how do you support female-owned and run businesses. So at a wider level, we made a commitment as part of the Compass I was talking about earlier to spend 2 billion euros every year with what we call diverse suppliers, and in different countries, that has different meanings and different definitions. Sometimes it includes women. So again, in Kenya last year, we started working with Plastic Solutions, which is a totally 100% women-owned business, which really specializes in HDPE recycled plastic products. So they're supplying now Unilever Kenya with PCR-based marketing merchandise. And we're working with them closely to grow their capacity and their capabilities. So I think it's really a mutual learning experience, both for us and working with the social enterprises. And I love working and hearing and learning from these sorts of social enterprises. And when I look at what we can provide, which is access into our markets, financial servicing, training, etc., and then see what we're learning back, it really is such a win-win situation.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. We always at ABI talk about a growth mindset and a learning mindset, and you have to bring that to everything you do, at every engagement, every opportunity to get to observe others, to learn from others. We can only be stronger if we can learn from each other. So great examples. Thank you so much, Rebecca. I really appreciate that. And with that, we're just about ready to move to the main event, which I'm sure many of you are eagerly waiting for. So Rebecca, before I hand the floor over to our fantastic entrepreneurs here, do you have a final word of inspiration for those that are joining us today, for the amazing female founders and male founders who are dedicating their lives and careers to solving circular challenges and helping us in building a more sustainable world?
I mean, wow, the ingenuity and the drive is just massively energizing. I'm so full of admiration. Being a founder is really pioneering. We all know there is no one-size-fits-all solution when we're collectively trying to get to a circular economy. That it requires this joined-up effort, and all of the companies that we get the chance to work with together on the Accelerator, are approaching that in different ways. So different ways to work and inspire women, thinking about how we can support these innovation initiatives together. Collectively, we're all trying to strive for the same thing around this sustainable, equitable future. So yeah, it's a real privilege to be involved, and yeah, just absolutely love working and getting the opportunity to be a part of this. So thank you.
Thanks, Rebecca. I definitely share the same feelings, and truly humbled by the dedication, commitment, and the passion that our teams and the new founders that join the program every year bring to the table. So thank you again so much for joining us today. And thank you all for your leadership and partnership in our pursuit of innovation and inclusive growth. Really excited to continue to learn from you, to continue to pilot and scale true innovation that is going to deliver breakthrough solutions for us. And without further ado, it is with great pleasure that I introduce the moderator of our first session, Kate Robertson. And I will give a very brief introduction of Kate, and I know it won't do it any justice because this is just a sliver of her incredible work and accomplishments. But Kate Robertson is the co-founder of One Young World, the global forum for young leaders, which she set up in 2009 with David Jones. The annual summit is attended by over 1,400 delegates from 190 plus countries around the world, and as well as luminaries such as Kofi Annan, Professor Muhammad Yunus, and Arianna Huffington, among many others. And I've had the privilege and the honor to join a couple of these summits, and I hope to join another one in the near future. Truly special events and the convening power of how we're bringing some of the next generation leaders together and tackling world challenges. So Kate Robertson was formerly the global president and UK group chairman of Havas Worldwide, where she was the highest placed woman in the advertising industry worldwide. So good to see you again, Kate. Thank you so much for all you do. Thank you for your leadership. Over to you.
Ezgi, thank you for the introduction, but let me say first off to you and to Rebecca, on behalf of 13,500 One Young World ambassadors around the world, the whole One Young World community, we salute ABI and Unilever. Why? Because you two women are showing leadership in business, and One Young World is all about leaders. It's not about anything else. And our belief that without leadership, we're all really just flopping along, going nowhere. And to me, it is wonderful to see women like Ezgi and Rebecca standing there and doing this stuff that has to be done. This is leadership in these times. And as tough as it is, you have to remember that every single one of you, particularly the founders, and as Rebecca and Ezgi say, I mean, all power and respect to you founders. The point about it is this: you have these terrible, terrible times, all of which are a result of leadership. A Vladimir on one side and a Volodymyr on the other. You choose. But the truth of the matter is, we get in so many instances in the public realm the leadership we allow, or we get the leadership we deserve. But leadership in the corporate sector is tough to achieve. It takes a lot of grit and determination and ambition. But I tell you what, without it, we get nowhere. So I salute the pair of you on behalf of the One Young World family and community. I really do. Salute to Carolina Garcia and Maisie Devine for all of the work that they do throughout the year with our young leaders. And I'd say to all of us as women, one thing women know, when something needs to be done, if you feel strongly about it, you just get out there and you do it yourself. So salute to all the women leaders, as Rebecca was saying there, to some of the amazing achievements of ABI and Unilever in this area, not least of which, and Rebecca mentioned it, the Global Treaty on Plastic Pollution, which is just a phenomenal achievement. So let's go to the bright side in these darkest of times. For me now, I'm just so proud to have a role here to introduce one of the winners of the Lead 2030 Challenge, which is Catherine Shane, and she joins me now on screen. So Catherine is the founder of, and I've got to get this name right because we call it CERT in the office because it's become already a byword for us. So CERT, C-I-R-T, you heard it here first. She's got a logo up behind her. Good girl, good marketing. Okay, so CERT gathers the data and the information that everybody needs to make recycling significantly more accessible to consumers. And that's a really big deal because we all know the truth of this matter. So Catherine's innovation and indeed her leadership won the 100 Plus Accelerator's Lead 2030 Challenge, which wins her a $50,000 cash prize and support from the company. Important thing about this is at One Young World, we know that the only thing that you lack as young leaders is you need access to cash, real cash, and a big chunk of cash, not just something tiny like $1,000. So there sits Catherine with a bit of a jackpot to help her on her busy way. Catherine, so congratulations, a huge welcome from all of us to you, and to ask you a couple of questions. A major problem, we all know, most of us on this call are going to be supporters of recycling, or maybe we're recycling ourselves, we should be, but we don't do it properly. So what you're offering us with CERT is a way to help us overcome this issue, but it's a big issue. So tell us how CERT helps all of us, even all of our companies.
Thank you, Kate. I'm so excited to be here, and really thank you for your leadership in the space. I think that you are doing an incredible job in bringing women to the forefront of a lot of the issues that we're experiencing as far as founders go. And I'm actually going to do something really quick and switch off my headset because it seems like I'm getting some echo in the background. So just give me a second.
Okay. So yes, recycling is very different based on where you are. So, you know, and it's not just a matter of, you know, being in a different location, but women also are primarily responsible for waste. Actually, 60% of the duties that are in the waste sector fall on women. And in developing economies, women have traditionally been more involved in waste disposal and management, usually working for free and in the informal sector through waste picking, according to UNEP and the Ocean Conservancy. And the formal sector has predominantly been dominated by men. And even in the US, the space is still very static and archaic. All of the Solid Waste of Association of North America's 2021 innovators last year were not women. There wasn't a single woman amongst them. And we also know that women and men view domestic waste disposal very differently. And sometimes we joke at CERT that our technology isn't just helping save the planet, but marriages and partnerships too. We know that recycling is different depending on where you are, and recovery in general is. So, you know, with recyclable, compostable, and other terms being used universally, it can be very confusing to consumers. And so we've aggregated over 9,000 separate recycling programs, and we've unified that on one platform. And we're making it accessible to companies, to consumers, to NGOs and nonprofits, so that we can start to really connect our products and packaging based on the materials. And so consumers know that they have a trustworthy source to go to. We're a third-party system that can say yes or no to certain types of materials based on where you are. And also local recycling programs benefit from this because then there's not contamination in the stream, and they can get correct and updated information about where people are asking and how they're asking. We view what we're doing as a dynamic digital solution to recycling and recovery communication. And really this will help inform how packaging is designed. We want to reach upstream solutions like packaging design by conveying this type of information to brands like AB InBev and Unilever and Coca-Cola and Colgate-Palmolive. We want this to be accessible and usable and support ESG metrics and sustainability goals across the industry.
So tell me something now. I'm imagining with all of that good work and this fantastic base, if you like, that you've built, the real movement of this comes now from getting more governments and companies and consumers engaged with CERT. So what's next for you? How does this scale now?
a great question, Kate. So currently we're working with AB InBev in two different capacities. One is through a B2B play where we're understanding the reverse logistics for shipping material. A lot of the shipping material that is distributed can be recovered and it can be revenue generating. So think of pallet wrap and multi-pack material and cardboard. Those things have a value on a secondary market, and it can drive the collection of that material on a B2B scale. Also, we're working with craft brands within AB InBev, one of them being Wicked Weed, to really communicate the recyclability of their packaging based on their distribution network. We're excited to have these pilots going with AB InBev and for their support. And we're also looking to scale in the retail and several other markets that are aggregators of products. So they purchase products and they need to know amongst their footprint what is accepted and where. You can think about airlines, you can think about hospitality, you can think about co-working spaces. They all have large footprints, and they have footprints all over the globe, and understanding what to procure to best recover those products in the long run is going to make them a more sustainable business, and then also support the circular economy.
It's just remarkable. Absolutely fantastic. Just well done. Huge admiration for all of this. Now, I think we were going to talk about International Women's Day, were we? You and me?
I think so, yes.
So
we are, yeah. So Kate, we're a women-owned and founded and led business. I am a huge advocate for women in leadership, especially in STEM and in other areas where we're traditionally there's a disparity between men and women in the industry. So for my work, my background is in engineering. I have started a company, and I also participate in a sector that is not traditionally run by women. And so I really want people out there to know that I want to serve as a role model in this space and show that you can accomplish what you set your mind to. With the right tools and the support from networks like One Young World, from networks like the 100+ Accelerator, it's allowing me to have a voice, and other women in this space have a voice, and show that we have valid and worthy businesses to participate in the market. So I really think that women in the marketplace, women showing their companies are valuable and revenue generating, and support ESG metrics and equality is really important. And I'm a huge supporter and advocate for that.
And doing absolutely brilliantly. Clearly, the circular economy, I think, is one of the huge changes in my lifetime, other than the internet, which really gives businesses a chance to jump ahead of where business is going to end up in 5 to 10 years' time, because the circular economy is going to become sine qua non. You're going to have to be circular, not to let perfection be the enemy of the good, but because it's going to have to happen. I think for International Women's Day, let us say my closing comment at this point would simply be, we absolutely must look at he for she, and realize that as we focus on the amazing strength of women, and women are absolutely the best thing ever, that we need men to think so too, and to come with us on this. We are going to need them. And I know that Ezgi and Rebecca are two women in their companies who are absolutely brilliant about bringing the guys along with them. So it's great on that. Now, what I want to do is thank Catherine again. Congratulations. Really looking forward to seeing you with us at One Young World in Manchester this year. Absolutely fantastic. We're all so proud of you. And I know that Maisie and Carolina are as well. So now, with that concluding thought about the men that we're going to need, or we do need, I want to pass over to just the same, another amazing woman, brilliant Rory Titcomb who is the COO of Graham and Walker. She's going to take us through the next panel. Thank you to everybody, to all of you amazing women. Congratulations on International Women's Day. Keep leading. We're leading the world. Keep it up. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Kate. And what an insightful conversation. Love hearing all about the work that One Young World is supporting and the work that Kat, you're doing with CERT. Really incredible. I'm Rory Titcomb. I am the COO at Graham and Walker, and we're a venture firm that is dedicated to accelerating women and non-binary founder success and changing the face of public market leadership in 20 years or less by investing in tomorrow's most powerful women-led technology companies. And I am joined today by 5 incredible founders from all across the world who are working to address the challenges that have, been brought up in this conversation today. They are kind of on the forefront of building innovation and building companies that are working hard to address the challenges that we face in our global economy. So I will do my best to just shine the light on the amazing founders with me. So first up, I'd like to do a quick round of introductions, and we'll have each founder share their company, what they're building. And first up, I'd like to bring up Rosa Brita. Go ahead and share what you're doing at Make Grow Lab.
Oh, thank you. Hello, everyone. My name is Rosa. I'm co-founder of Make Grow Lab. And at Make Grow Lab, we joined the mission to change the future of materials. And we're doing that by growing replacement to plastic, but without cutting trees, without growing specific crops, or without excluding oil, but with power of biology. We learning, collaborating with biology in order to produce materials 24 hours per day, much faster than we grow trees, but with the properties that can really replace plastics in coatings, in packaging, or in additives. So we are on a mission to really make a bit of change there. Thank you.
Amazing, Rosa. And Chioma Ukonu, how about you? What are you building?
Hi, everyone. My name is Chioma Ukonu. I'm the co-founder of Recycle Points. I'm honored to be here among the amazing women here today. So Recycle Points is Nigeria's foremost waste recycling and social benefit venture that motivates post-consumers to recycle by creating value from their everyday waste. We've developed innovative models such as the point-based incentive scheme model, the Dory Bean, and the mobile app with which we collect from registered post-consumers, recyclables such as PET, aluminum can, corrugated brown cotton, old newspapers, pure water sachet. Pure water sachet is a pouch for drinking street water in my country, and it's made from low-density polyethylene films. And aluminum cans and glass bottles, and in turn we reward the post-consumers with points, which when accrued can be used to redeem household items as small as a jar of milk or pack of milk to as big as flat screen television and cash. And the collected materials come to a collection and sorting hub where they are sorted by women within the community, and before it goes on to being baled or processed to flakes and used sold off as raw material for the production of new items.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Thank you, Chioma. Next up, let's hear from Lenka Minarova. Oh, Lenka, you are still on mute. It wouldn't be a Zoom call. It wouldn't be a webinar without that happening.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Thank you very much for this opportunity. My name is Lenka. I am co-founder of Czech companies, Navigate Corporation, and I have been developing circular economy more than 10 years. Our company is developing new biotechnologies which can utilize waste into the new materials, and we are focusing on cosmetics and biomedicine. So I'm sure that in near future you can buy our new sustainable cosmetics products based on upcycling ingredients.
Fantastic, so important. Over to you, Lorena.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for the space. Well, Resivesi is a women-founded and led team. I'm really proud to be here also sharing this space with my partners, Paula and Claudia. We are a company that started as a volunteer initiative about 6 years ago in order to connect grassroots recyclers, since it's a problematic that happens all over the world, especially in developing countries, to connect with citizens so that citizens can deliver them directly the recyclable material. Nowadays, we are a social startup that connects all actors of the waste management of recyclable materials with innovation, with social and technological innovation. We have a mobile application called Resi App, which does that job in connecting grassroots recyclers with citizens, and a traceability system to know what happens with all the recyclable materials in all the chain of custody of materials.
Amazing. I love hearing kind of some of the similarities between the companies you're building, but also, you know, the unique angles for how you're choosing to solve these problems. Last but not least, we have Sharon Barack.
Thank you. So I'm the founder of Solitum. I'm a chemical engineer. I used to work for a company that makes additive for plastic, and over there I was exposed to this world, to the world of plastic. I had the good things and obviously the bad things, and the outcome that single-use plastic products creates, the damage it creates to our environment. So we at Solitum are developing a raw material that feels and looks like the regular plastic everybody knows, but once it comes in contact with water, our material, it dissolves and then fully biodegrades. And by that, you can have the same benefits as you have with plastic, but you won't cause any harm to the environment. So this is us.
Fantastic. And I'd love to hear a little bit about what inspired you to start your company. So why don't we start with Lenka? What inspired you to start Navigate?
The most important inspiration was our vision, and it's very easy and very strong, and it's better world. So our team and I, we are convinced that with new technologies, we can create a really better world without microplastics, without toxic chemicals and other pollutants. Because right now we are using really a lot of toxic chemical ingredients, and we destroyed our environment, ecosystem, and it's really not good for our health. So it's our mission: better world with better ingredients and better new materials.
Fantastic. I always find talking to founders, there's always a story behind, you have to be a certain type of person to really go out, found a company, take the risk that it takes to really start something on your own. And I'd love to hear from you, Chioma. What inspired you to start Recycle Points? What's the story there?
Oh, okay. First of all, is the passion to live a very purposeful life, to be the change that I want to see within my environment. And then an embarrassing situation that happened sometime in a family vacation where we disposed our waste wrongly, and we got fined for it sometime ago in the UK. And that was the aha moment for us, because we're like, oh, so there's a value in this here, and back home is a menace. So we went back home motivated to, find a solution that suits the Nigerian ethos. And as they say, the rest is history. And that's how Recycle Point was born, right from my kitchen to the streets and to my neighborhood. And we are here today. So that's one of the things that motivated me. And while still on it, I'm still inspired every day to keep working, keep being the change, keep improving the life of people around me. Like during the COVID-19, within the COVID-19 contest, when the lockdown happened, we couldn't, our model was door-to-door pickup. So we had to find a way to pivot, because nobody wants to come to your house to pick up. You don't want to send your staff to, people, because you want to reduce contact. So we developed what we pivot from door-to-door pickup to, the drop-off recycling initiative, which we call the DORI. And we came up with a recycling asset to support that. And it's targeted within women, because in Nigeria, about 75% of women, of the grassroots recyclers are women. And these women have to, call their stuff to the aggregator, which actually most times are men. And we found a way to empower these women at the front line, because these waste pickers are the frontline workers of waste recycling in the developing world. So we go into communities that are underserved, and we identify women that are vested within the community. We do an engagement program, educate the communities on the effect of uncollected waste and the benefit of waste recycling and all of that. Then we give the dory beans to women to host. And these women take the message up from own these assets, and they drive collection to their beans, and they have two earning opportunities. They earn as bean hosts, and they also earn as bean hosts, and also they earn according to the volume of material they collect. So we're empowering women at the front line because we believe in recycle points for the whole waste recycling revolution to be successful at the long run. Players at each stage of the value chain have to be successful, especially those at the bottom of the pyramid. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely, Chioma. I think that, Kat and Kate from Young One World were talking about the importance of bringing everyone along and having, participation by all parts of the value chain. I think this conversation today is such a great example of that, hearing all the way from, chief sustainability officers from global corporations, and also from, companies just getting started all around the world. And I love the story of, the origin of recycle points on vacation and getting fined for not recycling. That's very, very funny. Rosa, how about you? What inspired you to start Make Grow Lab?
That was the moment when I was doing my thesis. I was working with mostly plastic as industrial designer. So a lot of prototyping, a lot of really being in touch with material. I started to feel negative impacts, and negative impacts started to be really pointed out. We learned all about the pollutions, etc. And on the other hand, I was growing up on a farm, and I saw this circularity of the life. And I was thinking, we were thinking, why not connect these both worlds of industry, of automation, but also the world of biology, that if we talk with biology well, maybe we can close the loop. Maybe we can have great materials, but without environmental problem later.
Two very different worlds, out in the fields and in a lab. I love that you were able to bring those together. And Lorena, what about you? What inspired you to start ResiVesi?
Well, there were many factors, and I believe one of the main important ones was, at the time, about 6 years ago, we were observing in Quito, the city where I come from, that they put on all over the city garbage bins, but to put all the material all together, and we started to see all the grassroots recyclers getting into the garbage bins and collecting all the material, like valuable material. So we started getting together with the people that then became ResiVesi with my partners. And I think that's another factor that inspired me creating the company, seeing all the passion and the commitment of this group of people wanting to make things differently. So we saw in ResiVesi the alternative to do things differently by solving more than one problem at a time. One of the main issues that we were trying to solve at the moment was working with grassroots recyclers, which in Quito, more than 70% were women, head of households, and then also solving another problem that we still have, unfortunately, in Ecuador, in Quito, which is having landfills or even dumps. So we were trying to solve two problems at once with ResiVesi. So we said, we already have the solution. We already have grassroots recyclers working in collecting all these valuable material. We just need to connect them, and we just need to create awareness on people to collect more recyclable material by including and recognizing more than including, because they have always been included in the model. As some Chilean leader says, always, they don't have to be included, they have to be recognized. And that's what inspired really to us to do what we are doing now in ResiVesi.
Amazing. Sharon, how about you? What inspired you to start Solutum?
In fact, I remember I woke up one day and I realized that there is a plastic island floating in our ocean. The size of the plastic island was about 2 times the size of Texas. And I thought, wow, this can be good. This can be good. And actually, a few days later, after having some investigation, I realized that there are 5 plastic islands floating in our ocean. And the size of the plastic islands is getting bigger, bigger, literally by the minute, because we are throwing so many plastic dump into the ocean. So this is what inspired me. I wanted to find a solution of how we are not going to treat the ocean that way, because we only have one planet. We don't have any planet B, as we like to say. And so I said, okay, we have so many materials in the world. Let's see what kind of materials we can have that will be compatible and still give us the benefits, as I said, of plastic, but won't do this harm. So with our materials, you won't get this phenomenon of the plastic islands just covering the ocean. In fact, 88% of the ocean surface today are covered with microplastic or plastic, which is scary. So let's hope for a better future.
Absolutely. Wow, that stat really is astonishing. Well, so it's really incredible to hear kind of what has inspired you all to start these companies. We wouldn't be here today if it was all easy and peaches and cream. So I'd love to hear a little bit about what are some of the challenges that you face, and in hopes of sharing challenges in a group environment that we can, together find solutions to them and give visibility to areas that maybe are a little more difficult to discuss. So, Sharon, what are some of the challenges that you have faced in building in the sustainability space as a woman?
Yeah, well, obviously as an entrepreneur, you have like plenty, specifically as a woman, and specifically maybe at my point of the time in my life. So while I'm building the company, I also gave birth to 2 sons. One is 1 year old, one is almost 3, and actually did the first major fundraising for the company while I was pregnant. I finished the round after giving birth from the hospital. And yeah, it was challenging because obviously at pre-seed, these days it's easier because I have my team and I have already my credentials. But being pre-seed startup that you only started, and when people, some investors look at me being pregnant, some guys, not all of them, some are great and some actually invest in my company, and they said, okay, what are you going to do about that? And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to keep running my company, So that was a challenge. Gladly to overcome it. It's just make me, stronger. And this is what we do. This is how women are going to make the world a much better place.
Absolutely. Yeah, there are so many challenges along the way. What you're doing, what each of you is doing is incredibly hard. And then you kind of add this additional layer of being a woman and all of the assumptions and challenges that go along with that. Lenka, what about you? What are some of the challenges you faced as you build your company?
At first, I would like to say my personal thank you to 100+ Accelerator that supported us, because definitely we need support and it's incredible helping for us. So it's really extremely important. And I am mother of 4 sons, adult sons, and 4 grandchildren. So it's for me, it's a really crucial question. And being a woman means protecting, caring for, building, creating, and being a leader. So the first challenge is balancing, as Sharon mentioned, between work and life. And it's really hard work, but it's possible. So don't worry about it. It's definitely possible. It is my case. Another challenge is to bring female elements into the male world of technologies. 10 years ago in my team, 100% of the team were men. Right now, it's 50-50. So female element is crucial as well. And last but not least, being a woman means that we bring a different point of view. I am from a country where thousands, hundreds of refugees from Ukraine are flowing, and it's very incredible situation. But I am sure that no woman could start work. It's not possible because we have different role, and in my country we are open our homes, we are open our hearts, and we help, and this is the power of women.
Lenka, thanks for bringing that into the room, and I think it is an important reminder that we do acknowledge these difficult times the world is in, and also acknowledge the power that women have to shape a different future. So why don't we transition to that before we close out? I'd kind of love to hear why do you all think it's important to have women building in the space? And let's start with Lorena. Why is it meaningful that you are a woman founder building in the circular economy?
I think it's very meaningful because first of all, we created something from scratch. We created our own job and created something that we all dreamt about, and that probably about 10 years ago, 20 years ago, it wouldn't have been possible because of the inequalities that we all know happen all over the world. And I think it's very important because we are a role model to new generations. And also because we, in our company, as we work with women, they feel identified and they feel supported by a group of women that understand the needs and that understand what they go through in their daily lives as women. For example, it's as Sharon was saying, when she got pregnant, we had a similar case in our company with Paula, one of our co-founders. She got pregnant and we had all the support from all the other members of the team. And that's something that grassroots recyclers in our case are inspired by, and they follow us and they believe in us. So I think it's very important in our industry, at least, because we work with women, and I think that's very, very inspiring and very meaningful for them. And because we are also inspiring new generations of new women, new little kids that really want to build things differently in the world, and they want to see changes in the world. So I think that's very important for new generations, especially.
Yeah, incredible that the power that we have, in being trailblazers is really incredible. There are women in each of your communities, each of your countries, who are looking to you to guide them and inspire them. Chioma, what about you? Why do you think it's important in Nigeria, especially, to have women building in the sustainability space?
By nature, women are creators, and taking this, our creative nature to the circular economy sector is what is needed at this time. There is a place for women in this place, and for myself, being a woman in this sector have inspired a lot of other young women to start waste recycling. When I started this, when I left my job, my family froze. Everybody was shocked. What are you doing? You're going to be picking plastic on the streets of Lagos. Are you okay? All of that. But now I am here, and a lot of women I've mentored a lot of women into starting this business, and when they see me do, they say they can do it. And also the woman factor in the operations in a grassroots setting is very key because of the social dimension to our work. Like the pregnancy case, the sorters within our collection and sorting hub are young girls, young women, older women that wouldn't get any job employment any other place. A single mom, teenage single mom, straps a baby to her back and comes into my hub. She wants to sort waste because she's in an abusive relationship, and because she's dependent in that money that coming from that abusive relationship, she has to continue staying. But if she can sort waste, which she can do without having a capital to start and all of that, she can get earnings and stand on her feet. And I would take the baby from her and look after the baby, babysit for her while she works. And this girl, I was so happy that she was able to come pull herself together and pull herself through. So if I wasn't a woman in that hub and she walked in, I'm sure any other person would send her back. Because, but women are very caring, right? We have that nurturing aspect to us. So this is just an example of one of the social dimensions of what we face at the grassroots level. So we're opening the door. We're identifying waste pickers within empowering women within the front lines. So that's because a woman is in the team to identify all of these things that other people can overlook, that wouldn't make sense to any other person, but it will make sense to a woman. So yeah, that's it for me.
It's true. It's so important. You know, the decisions that each of you makes as, you know, the founders of your companies, it has this impact beyond, you know, it has an impact within your company. It has an impact your customers, your, you know, your providers, your vendors, and in your communities as well. Rosa, why do you think it's important to have women building in the circular economy?
For us at MicroLab, we see how much we appreciate the balance women and men together can bring to the workspace, can bring to research facilities, to universities, especially in R&D sector, when sometimes we can see universities can be a bit still more in a not such an equal space. We see this how this balance can bring the most from the team members from both sides.
I love that as a thought to close on. It's not, you know, none of us can do this alone. And actually the logo, the Graham & Walker logo, our ampersand, is really representative of that. You know, we believe that there is a role for everyone in the work that we do, changing the public markets. We hope that you all will someday IPO and you know, take your companies public and have a really powerful impact on the global economy. And there's room for everyone in that. The ampersand, yeah, and men and women and large corporations and small corporations, entrepreneurs, everyone around the world. You know, it is a global challenge, and when we come together, we can affect change in the global economy. So, and it's so powerful to have women building, because the impact of the work that you are all doing is really, really incredible. I loved hearing Rebecca at the very top of the hour. You know, when Ezgi asked her about being an entrepreneur and what inspires her about what you all are doing, her face just lit up and her first words were just, wow, right? And I hope you all know you know, I think the entire audience, if we were in person somewhere, people would be applauding the incredible work that you're doing. It's so important. And I think we will pause there. Thank you all for joining us. Again, I'm Rory at Graham & Walker. And you can look out for more information about Graham & Walker in our newsletter. And I also have a reminder from Carolina and the team at Accelerator 100+ that applications for the next program will be opening up soon. So keep your eyes out for that. AB InBev and their partners at Unilever and beyond are looking for partners and founders who want to build a better world. So if you were inspired by some of the companies and founders that you see before you apply for this next cohort, or go start the company that you've been wondering if you should or if you can. And we are so proud at Graham & Walker to be partnered with Accelerator 100+ and with their entire team. And it's an honor to be here with you all to celebrate International Women's Day and International Recycling Day. So congratulations to you all founders, and thank you all for being with us today. I hope you have a great rest of your morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you are in the world, and left this conversation feeling inspired to take action towards, you know, improving our economy and improving the sustainability of our world.